Yeah, let's go for it. Pay 12 life. Hope this doesn't go wrong, because we probably just die to the vampires if it does. Hearth and Home targeting Aurelia. Containment Priest? Oh, well played, sir. Well played. Huh. Today on Commander Replay, we check out this high-power Aurelia combo deck and find out if we can recover from an ill-timed Containment Priest. Next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, there's two great ways to support the channel. All links are in the description below. Welcome back everyone, playing some Aurelia the Warleader today, and today's deck list comes to us from Patreon supporter Jared. Let's take a look at this opener. 2 lands, Stoneforge Mystic, Dowsing Dagger. Seems pretty good. Yeah, I can get down with this. Let's go ahead and keep. So he's calling this deck Aurelia Legion of One, and it's very similar to the super high power combo version of Aurelia that I'm playing. It's got the Helm of the Host combo, it's got the Sword of Hearth and Home combo in here. So yeah, our goal is to try to win the game as quickly as possible. With this deck, that tends to be between turns 6 and 8, but a very consistent turn 6 to 8, so that's kind of what we're looking at. There's a third land. The third land makes me happy. Let's get the Alpine Meadow in. This one comes in untapped. Yeah, that one comes in untapped. Let's get the Alpine Meadow in right here. Giver of Runes on 1 would be nice, but I'm not that worried about it. I think we'll find an opportunity to sneak it in at some point. Weathered Wayfarer for opponent. Yeah, solid turn 1 play. I've been really starting to come around on this card. A few years back, I wasn't that high on it, but now, given how quick everything needs to be, like, you don't get many turns for free anymore. Just being able to do that on 1 and then make sure you hit your lands, super important. Also, it finds any land, which is not the easiest thing to do. There's only really a handful of cards in the game outside of green that do that, and so you can get an Ancient Tomb, you can get a Nykthos, Cradle if you're in green. There's a ton of really powerful lands in this format, and this allows you to find them. Even in mono white, finding a Nykthos is absolutely massive, let alone if you're playing this in a deck with other colors as well. Anyway, that brings us back to our turn. There's a Skyclave Apparition. We see a Restless Bloodseeker coming into play. What are we doing right here? Right here, let's get the... We'll hold off on the Iganjo for a second. We'll play the Bonder's Enclave, get Stoneforge Mystic. Let's get the Stoneforge Mystic. Let's get the Sword of Hearth and Home. Super powerful combo with Stoneforge Mystic, game-ending combo with Aurelia. So, yeah, probably the most important card in our deck. I did play this deck last night, and I made the mistake of not using the Stoneforge Mystic to activate it to get it in, and it got countered on the stack, and that caused a lot of problems, not just because of the combo, but also because I was struggling on mana in that game. I was consistently 2 to 3 lands behind the turn count for most of the game. Had a little artifact mana to make up some of it along the way, but it would have been nice to catch those lands up. And the play I was trying to go for was that I was trying to cast and equip all on the same turn to be able to get that hit going with Stoneforge Mystic, but there's a blue-white control deck, and they just countered it, so that messed everything up. So I think we're going to play kind of careful with it today. Olivia Mobilized for War. Cool card. Is that their commander? No. They're playing Edgar Markov. Okay, yeah. I haven't actually seen Edgar Markov in quite a while now. It's crazy how strong this used to be considered, and now but by today's standards, I'd say it's fine, right? It's a good deck, but it's certainly not the scariest thing going. We draw a Wheel of Fortune. We'll see about that Wheel of Fortune. Let's play the Iganjo, get Giver of Ruins, and then we'll probably activate, and which one do we get first? Going Dowsing Dagger or Hearth and Home? Difficult to say. Dowsing Dagger is so much mana early in a game. I'm actually leaning in that direction. Like, I know Sword of Hearth and Home is nice, but like getting 3 extra mana every turn, I can't explain how good that is. It's just, if you've ever been in a game situation where you're just like, man, I'm 1 mana short of everything I need to do multiple turns in a row, that problem doesn't happen when you flip an early Dowsing Dagger. You're just like, oh, I have all the mana I need to do everything. This is fantastic. Opponent did grab a Nykthos with the Weathered Wayfarer. Yeah, that's just, that is such a good play with that card. And as mono white, this is one of the few ways to really get that extra mana going. Like, it's just so hard to produce excess mana in mono white. Most of the ramp is catch-up ramp, and even the ones that aren't are still just put an additional land into play, which is nice, but it's not make 5 extra mana a turn or make 10 extra mana a turn. And when you look at like the most powerful things going, that's usually what's happening. Like the green deck will slam a Guy's Cradle, Itlamok, any number of other things that all start making an extra 3, an extra 5, an extra 8, an extra 10 mana every single turn. With black, you have Cabal Coffers and more mana doublers than any other color. Red is a little tough, but red, at least you have Mana Geyser and a few of those ritual type effects, which, depending on what you're doing, can be very helpful. Blue's got High Tide. But mostly I think you just see a lot of artifacts in blue, and what tends to make them powerful is things that can untap them. Also, like, just having Fabricate in blue, like, I don't know, if you slam a Mana Vault or a Thran Dynamo or something, you can easily Fabricate for a Voltaic key and really kind of get wild and, get that big burst of extra mana. So mono white really just has it the hardest, and what's unfortunate is the cost of Nykthos. I don't think it was reprinted, or even if it was, I want to say it was still around $25, which is just a lot, and then tack on 3 or 4 more for the Weathered Wayfarer. And yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, if you're playing against a bunch of strong decks, you probably won't make the mana you need without spending this kind of money in mono white, which sucks. Restless Bloodseeker has flipped into Blood-Soaked Reveler. That happened when they sacrificed 2 blood tokens. Zombie doing a little attacking here. Yep. He's leaving himself open, so I wasn't sure who I was going to attack, but or who I was going to give the plants to. Probably go with the mono white. No, they make tokens, don't they? Maybe we'll go with the Ornn deck. Flintlocks can activate that Weathered Wayfarer. Yeah. Interesting this game in that no one slammed a Soul Ring. Opponent's got some stuff at the end step here. Looks like they're going to make a blood token. We'll activate the Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, I know we could go for the Hearth and Home. I think I really just want this Dowsing Dagger for all the reasons that I've been talking about. Drop in the Dowsing Dagger. I guess we'll give him the Flintlock, even though, white deck tokens, I don't know. Gotta give it to someone. Usually the best thing to do is follow this up, get this thing flipped over, and then follow it up with a Blasphemous Act, and then it looked like you knew what you were doing all along. Oh god, that's a Treasonous Ogre. Okay, so I did have to make a couple changes to the deck, and we're seeing 2 of them in our hand currently. That'd be Prophetic Flamespeaker and Treasonous Ogre. A couple things weren't available on Magic Online. Battle Angel of Tears, Ragavan's still crazy expensive. There were 1 or 2 other things as well that I couldn't find for whatever reason. This could get a little wild. This is a card that I've been meaning to test out for these type of builds where speed is everything. The life loss is significant, but if making 3 extra mana a turn means that you're going to win the game, then it's worth it, right? Like, if I had this thing last night, would have won the game easily, because, like I was talking about, I was 1 land short for multiple turns in a row, so Treasonous Ogre would have been nice. Anyway, let's equip the Dowsing Dagger to the Stoneforge Mystic. Zombie's gonna crack a blood token, sure. I'm gonna send the Stoneforge Mystic over to Zombie. Oh, by the way, I've been talking a lot about last night's game. It was actually a really interesting game, but it went more than 2.5 hours, and basically 2 blue control decks just started battling it out. And the time it would take to edit that game is just not worth it, so we're filming another game here. So we hit. The Dowsing Dagger is gonna flip. Love it. Oh, you know what we have too? We have the Hearth and Home Skyclave Apparition combo, which means we can start exiling stuff when problems start showing up on the board, which I also like. I've been thinking about the Treasonous Ogre, Prophetic Flamespeaker. I think we're just going to go for the Flamespeaker right here and get that in, because paying for the Ogre and then paying 9 life to get the Flamespeaker doesn't seem the best right here. So maybe next turn we think about the Ogre. We'll see. But if we untap with the Flamespeaker with Hearth and Home plus our other stuff, we have a lot of really good things going on. I guess also we could think about Treasonous Ogre or spend a ton of our life Aurelia Hearth and Home. Which, the key, though, well, I guess when we have trample on this thing, right? Okay, yeah, the trample matters, because, so the key for the Hearth and Home Aurelia combo is that you need a creature other than Aurelia to wear the sword, and if someone has non-green, non-white creatures that they can block with, then you can't necessarily just win the game. You can probably kill, like, a player or 2 and get a lot of extra combats, but the trample on this thing's super relevant. I like this card a lot when you're playing equipment. It's also good because it's card advantage, right? When you're playing a combo deck, which from what I saw in the description, this just helps you get to that combo. In addition to the fact that, like, Double Strike and Trample is just really good with equipment. This thing really does a lot. I mean, there's been games where I've just killed people with combat damage, even though I'm like trying to assemble the combo. You know, you throw any 2 equipment on here, and it's going to be a lot of damage in someone's face. There's a Bygone Bishop. Yep. I would say that if you're running this card in the deck, make sure you have some life gain in the deck. Make sure you have a Luxon on Warhammer, or some way to gain a decent chunk of life back, because you can just burn your life total down with this thing. This is still a test card for me. I'm not entirely sure if it should be in here, but since I had a couple openings, I'm like, we'll slot it in. We'll see how it goes. Also, the curve was pretty low, so I don't know. It just seemed like it fit into the curve nicely. The one thing we are missing is that we're not actually hitting our land drops, but Hearth and Home should help us out here. So, based on the fact that I haven't seen any removal yet, there's a Mathis Fiendseeker coming in. Interesting card. Olivia mobilized for War Trigger. Yeah. I think we could theoretically do this 9 times on our next turn and win the game. But if anything goes wrong, that is such a risky play. So I think I might slow roll things for a turn here and just fool around with Skyclave Apparition, Hearth and Home, and Prophetic Flame Speaker. I think it's a more interesting line, and it's a safer line. And I get that we have Giver and a Red Elemental Blast, which probably covers us against most things, but I guess, unforeseen circumstances could get us. An Aetherize out of the blue player, we do not. No, yeah, I guess we do have that covered. Black Kill Spell, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, we do have quite a bit covered between these 2 cards, but paying 27 life or whatever it is, just, I don't know. Also, based on the starts that everyone's had, like, everyone's had a reasonably fair start. Not a lot of ramp coming down here early, so I think we can hold off for a turn and everything's going to be just fine. But, if money were on the line, I'd probably just go for the Treasonous Ogre line. Yeah, here's some attacks in our direction. Actually, with those attacks, we probably actually wouldn't have enough life to do the thing I was talking about. Huh. I guess we could block with this and then tap that and soak up some damage, which actually isn't the worst idea anyway. I don't want to tap out the Giver of Runes. I'll just take the damage. Since we're not going on the lose all of our life line, this is a really interesting card. Makes you think a lot and like, how much do I need to spend into this? Is that worth it? Love that trade-off, right? You can't. It's not overloading a Cyclonic Rift where it's almost objectively correct to do that every single time. With Treasonous Ogre, it makes you think. You're like, ooh, how much can I take and have it be okay? Yeah, they're gonna put a counter thing on the Prophetic Flame Speaker. That's fine. You know the problem I always notice with the Vampire deck? Zombies down to 2 cards. That's a problem that I always run into too. Like, unless you find Skull Clamp, I always feel like that deck just runs out of cards for some reason. I don't know why that is. There's a Valakut Awakening. Might play that as a land. We'll see. We'll see how this turn shapes up. I guess we're not theoretically going to draw any cards. Can this one come in tapped? Untapped? No, this one's always tapped. So, let's activate Stoneforge Mystic. Drop in the Hearth and Home. Be a little short on mana here. I was hoping to double blink the Skyclave Apparition. Yeah, we actually don't have enough mana to do that. That's disappointing. I mean, I guess we just tap this thing. And put this on Mia. Oh, we might find another land. Yeah, with this thing, we might find some lands. Unfortunately, I should have tapped the mana better. Yeah, we're going to give up a mana here. I don't know how much that's going to impact us or not. Swing into Flintlock. Oh, I guess the Skyclave part's fine just because blinking the Stoneforge Mystic still makes a lot of sense. I love setting up these Hearth and Home lines. I've been running Flametongue Kavu a lot. Actually, based on what I've seen from this thing so far, maybe just run Flametongue Kavu in this spot because you can just burn everything down. So all the value. This is why I love Prophetic Flame Speaker. Now, we got to be careful with these exiles. You just kind of hope for the best with them. But blink the Stoneforge Mystic, get the Flame Speaker trigger. I meant to do that in the other order. And Makokoro's fine. Deathly try to avoid exiling your combo pieces if you can't cast them. I would say that if you're playing Prophetic Flame Speaker, running a Sensei's Divining Top or some sort of scry might be a really good idea. Let's check on our mana colors real quick. We have a lot of red in hand. We could actually use more red sources, I think. I'll probably just get one of each. So we go through the turn here. Use the ability. Let's get Conqueror's Flail. Oh yeah, that is a magic card. I added this one also. They had Defense Grid in the deck, but Conqueror's Flail is the same idea, but better, I think. Just that it does need to be attached, but that's not the hardest thing to do. Blink the Stoneforge Mystic once again. Did this in the wrong order again. Another land. That's totally fine. Probably actually the most ideal outcome. in this current situation. So we don't have a ton of mana to work with. Let's get a plains this time. Do we just get Helm? I don't want to get Helm out of the red decks. There is one red deck at the table. Blue deck's got wheels too, potentially. I'm not going to go for Helm just yet. We have double strike. I'm going to go for Umezawa's. Umezawa's can clean up so much stuff. Okay, so we've got a land play. Let's play the War Room. Now our mana is looking fantastic. What do we have for interaction? We have just the Red Elemental Blast that we want to leave up. So let's get Conqueror's Flail into play. Opponent's got feelings about the Conqueror's Flail. Do I have feelings about their counterspell? Tough call. I'm gonna let it go. This isn't mission critical to what we're doing. It's just really nice to have. I feel like holding this for when Aurelia's in play, which is probably next turn, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. This is probably the Aurelia turn, and peeps, if they don't find something, they're probably gonna die. But yeah, with any sort of X and Y, this is a 3/5, double strike trample, protection from 2 colors, and you get the exile the top card ability you may play at this turn, so you exile 2. And, you know, every once in a while that last ability will bite you and you'll exile your big stuff that you want late in the game that you can't cast, like your Helm of the Host. I've had that happen. I've had a couple, like, Sunforger pieces get exiled, and that's not a great time either. Teferi's protection. You know, you just kind of hope for the best. So it gives a lot, but it does take a little bit too. That's the old strip mine on the Lost Veil. That does happen from time to time, but I would say that the damage is probably already done. How much mana do we have now? Still have exactly enough for Aurelia. What we don't have is enough to also leave up the Red Elemental Blast, unless we catch a land off the top. But yeah, when you hit with a sword of X and Y with this thing, you just get so much value. It's pretty glorious. One thing I did note with this deck last night when I was playing is that you probably want a few more ways to be able to get things back. I saw Savine's Reclamation in here. I don't know that there were a ton of other ones. The new Denitha, I think, is a really solid option. Nope, I don't even have the new Denitha. The 5 mana 1, 5 mana, First Strike Vigilance, Lifelink, ETB, put an equipment from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield attached to it. That's a really good card to have. There's no Sun Titan in the deck, which is also interesting. I would definitely add a Sun Titan. Sun Titan is just so incredibly good. Math is coming our way. Yep, a lot of open mana at the table. Doesn't make me feel great about what's going on here. Notably, Flintlock, they strip mined us, but they didn't really have much else going, so couldn't even get their commander in. 4 mana is suspiciously enough for Comeuppance or Settle the Wreckage, though, which are a problem. We're just going to take that damage again. I think that better off leaving up the Giver of Runes. Don't feel like getting picked apart with spot removal, if anyone's got it. Shooting the Lost Veil, though, is that's a game-saving play right there, because if we have that extra mana, I just don't know what opponents could have to stop our combo this coming turn. Now they've at least got a chance. We might have to go shields down on the Red Elemental Blast, which I'm not thrilled about. Gonna put a thing on the plant? Yep, might shoot that plant so we can draw a card at some point. We can no longer burn 27 life with Treasonous Ogre, so that's a thing. Although maybe it's probably less than that now, honestly. Maybe now is the Treasonous Ogre time. I did tell opponents turn 6. It is now turn 6, so feel no shame in going for it at this point. That's a Savine's Reclamation. That is interesting. So we could Treasonous Ogre and then pay 12 life to cast Aurelia. And then we have the ability to leave up the Red Elemental Blast. Yeah, I think we go for it. I say we go for it. Make sure we leave up the white mana. That's super important. And that's always the problem with Aurelia now, is that you have that turn where you have to cast Aurelia, and that 6 mana is rough. So that's why, we look at stuff like this. There's a Jeweled Lotus in the deck, which helps with that a lot. Wouldn't say no to a Mana Vault. Obviously the Dousing Dagger, which we had, but then it got shot. And, as great as this card is, it is a strip mine target for sure. I've had that happen many times. Yeah, let's go for it. White, pay 12 life. Hope this doesn't go wrong, because we probably just die to the vampires if it does. DJ's got something. I didn't really introduce our opponents yet. I should probably do that. We got DJ playing Jorn. We've got Flintlock playing God Eternal Oketra. And Zombie Caller piloting Edgar Markov. That's a Dark Ritual. Okay, they're trying to make mana. What for, though? Is this one of those, big counter spells or something? As long as it's blue, we can probably deal with it. If it's not blue, it might be trickier. Oh, don't be an Overloaded Rift. Oh, well, if it is, we just shoot it. It is a Pull from Tomorrow X5. Oh, well, that's fine. Commence the attacks? Pray for no Settle or Comeuppance. Start with DJ, since he has no creatures. DJ is back to basics. Didn't cast it. Yeah, no, that would crush us. That would crush us. Transmute is sorcery only? I didn't know that either. Someone said, who has removal for the Flame Speaker? Yeah, that's a removal-worthy card. Now, what is funny about this is, like, if opponents make us play it out, we would actually exile a ton of cards from our deck. Hearth and Home, targeting Aurelia. Hopefully I don't have to mess. I think they changed that, so it's not terrible now. Flame Speaker. Containment Priest. Oh, well played, sir. Well played. Huh. What do we have for that? Yeah, we got nothing for it right now. God, I wish we had that Umazawa's in. Get a plains. Actually, we need red. We could use more plains, I think. Now we have to try and defend ourselves against the vampires, and I'm not, like, thrilled about that. Yeah, we're going to go no on the blinking at this point. What did we exile with that first Flame Speaker trigger? I didn't see anything. Did Flame Speaker stop working? I think Flame Speaker stopped working. Huh. Oh, no, here we go. Land Godsend. Okay. Get a plains. We'll swing into zombie. I guess we'll attack into Flintlock. We have a major defense problem right now. Oh, no, we got our thing exiled. I wanted to choose no. Did I not choose no? I don't know what happened. That sucks. Needed that blocker, though. Vanquish the Horde would actually be a good pickup right here. I would love to clear out the creatures. Oh, we have to just not target it. Whoops. Yep. Well, our life's so low that we can't... Yeah, I mean, we need the blocker, but our life's so low that we can't really use the thingy anyway. It's a Tectonic Giant. Yeah, can't really get to that in this moment. Maybe we get our... Yeah, let's get red mana right here. Opponent's going to draw a card. Sure. Get red mana. Oh, there's another one. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. One more chance at a board wipe. What'd we hit? Deflecting Swat. Play the Marsh Flats. Can be played until the end of turn. We have 5 mana. The question is what to do with it. Tectonic Giant is nice. It's a good blocker. Skyclave Apparition takes care of a flyer, which seems like it might be a pretty good idea. Now, all that to say, if we landed the Conqueror's Flail, maybe we should just use the counter on to get the Conqueror's Flail in. Because once you do that, then you're not really too worried about much. Yeah, that seems like a mistake. Seems like a mistake. I'm going for the Skyclave play, I think. We'll exile the Olivia because it's flying and gives stuff haste, and that all seems like real bad news for us. Yeah, honestly, I think what this deck needs is free equips, because if we could get this thing in and just even to block with it, could potentially keep us alive. I think we just die to opponents ganging up on us. Soul Ring. I guess the thing to think about is that I think we netted 1 mana with the Treasonous Ogre at the cost of 12 life. So we paid 4 for the Ogre, then we paid 4 for Aurelia, and then we paid 1 additional one for the... Or we had 1 additional one for the Red Elemental Blast. Yeah, maybe the Ogre. I've tried it before, and it just, like, never quite seems to work out. I mean, I guess the key is you have to untap with it, which we didn't do, right? If we untap with it, I don't know. It's a weird card, right? That's, probably just better off with the Seething Song, honestly. What is that? That is a Witherbloom Apprentice. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. That's a real problem for us, to be completely honest. We need to find a way to kill our opponents very quickly here, otherwise we're going to die. Although, I think... Let me count all the mana. As long as we have enough mana, I think we can actually take another crack at this. Yeah, okay. So, on this coming turn, we have enough mana to recast Aurelia, equip the Umazawas, and leave up Red Elemental Blast. And we can win the game from that because we can use the Umazawa's counters to shoot the Containment Priest. How about the 4 lands we got with this thing, though? So good. Gonna put Boots on the Mother of Runes. That's fine. See what opponent wants to do for attacks. Yeah, I was hoping they weren't gonna send the flyer at us. Oh, they're sending everything. That is unfortunate. What's really unfortunate, zombies creatures are bigger. So this we can block. No, that we can block and block profitably. This we can block and trade, and then we won't even have to do as much of that stuff. Oh, right, they're going to protect theirs. Do we even care? Yeah, we need the blocker. We'll do the same. Zombie can probably get a lethal hit on us, though, especially if he casts his commander. He's only on 4 mana, though. That might be the saving grace. Weathered Wayfarer goes down. We go to 10. Zombie has 11 damage currently. Oh, no, if creatures start dying with the bounty counters, that's actually really bad, too. All right, let's see what he's got. There's land number 5. Oh, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life? If he just activates that, that is a problem. He's going to activate that. Okie dokie. Can we survive now? Down to 8. Okay, he leaves 1 back, thank God. Might be able to work our way out of this. All right, so we can block 2 creatures, which would soak up 4 damage, or we can block 1 creature, which will also soak up 4 damage. So I think we just want to go for the most profitable blocks that we can. So if we block there and block here, that's only 5 damage coming in, which means I think we can win. If he sent the last one, that'd be an additional 2 damage, which would be 7, which means we wouldn't be able to crack this fetch. And I think that is actually relevant to what's happening. I tell you what, though, giving up that ogre by accident, that blocker matters a lot right here. Okay, crack this fetch. Ooh. Drop in a... We'll get the plateau. Activate the mystic. Get Umezawa's. Survive at 2. A bounty counter would kill us. This has a bounty counter now. Hopefully it doesn't die for any reason. That's an austere command. I think we're just going for it, though. She's back. Equip the Umezawa's. Getting the order of these will be... Getting the order correct on these triggers is going to matter a ton right here. Go to combat. You know what's interesting, too? If we need to get to a point, like we could give this... No, never mind, we can't. We can't target it because of the giver. If this didn't have a Hearth and Home on it, we could target it so that it gets pro other colors, and then Aurelia untaps the giver. We'll attack into Flintlock since he's got open mana. There's the Aurelia trigger. Flintlock has more tricks, it seems. Ooh, a generous... Ooh. We didn't count on a generous gift. Huh. Can't do much about that. What we can do is put a lot of counters on Umezawa's Jite and try to survive with that. We get a 3/3. 3/3s are blockers, which is cool. We need to... Ooh, that needs to die. That needs to die. Also, that really soaks up the damage. And we're not going to get more mana back? Oh, God. Yeah, that got us. That just got us. He's going to block with the thingy. Yep. Flintlock came to play today. And I mean, I thought we came to play with the Red Elemental Blast and everything else in our hand, but Flintlock getting things done. 2 counters on the Jite. 2 more counters on the Jite. What'd you say? Each opponent draws a card. Each opponent draws a card and gains 2 life. Oh, thank God. I mean, that might just be enough life to keep us alive. Up to 4. There's a Sword of the Animist. Okay. Are there anything else with bounty counters on it? Our own creatures. Doesn't help us that much. Back to combat. He's open. We want to try to get a few exile triggers, I think. And poke DJ also. Flame Speaker and Umezawa's. There's a land. It's a Sacred Foundry. We'll probably want to go tapped with that. We do have a flying blocker now, and that's actually a pretty good place to be. More counters, another exile. This is a Battlefield Forge, which does not require life. Play the Battlefield Forge. Yeah, sit on our effects. Hope for the best. Oh, crap, we didn't deal with this thing. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 1 life. I really hope we don't have to burn all of our Umezawa's counters. Chain of Smog sounds not great. That is going to be each opponent loses 1 life. Oh, God, does he have the combo? Target player discards 2 cards. What are we getting rid of? If he even has, what is it, Professor Onyx or something that this goes infinite with? Okay. He's trying. Oh, that copies... Ooh, that casts infinitely, doesn't it? Wow. That player may copy this spell and choose new... Ooh. Crap. We are 1 short of Skyclave Apparition. If we could have got the Skyclave Apparition back, which I thought about doing, would have shot the boots, and that way we could have... Wow. Didn't know that was a line. I know you can do it with, like, Professor Onyx, I think, or something like that, but haven't seen it with this version. I mean... Start gaining some life. Where's that deflecting swap when we need it? Oh, we already exiled it. Sad. So we've got 13 life after our Jite triggers, so we're still going to lose, but at least we won't die first. Yeah, that sucks. Oh, man, we made 2 really good attempts at winning the game, and Flintlock had us played both times. So disappointing. And honestly, the thing that hurt more than anything was losing the Dowsing Dagger, because if we had that, we would have been able to either Savines to get Skyclave back, or get the Umezawa's in quicker. We probably could have got it in that Aurelia turn, I think, and had it ready to go, which also would have been a big deal. We could have stopped the whole thing from happening. So, yeah. Opponents just had the interaction, and they had stuff that we couldn't cover, which is really interesting because just we had so many different things covered between these 2 cards and just couldn't find the way through. Man, good game, though. So, yeah, this card is still really tricky. You know, are you just better off with the Seething Song? A lot of the times, probably. So maybe that's something to think about. But the thing you are probably better off with in that same CMC is a Flame Tongue Kavu, because Flame Tongue Kavu kills a crap ton of things. So anyway, main thoughts on the deck. It's a very good build of Aurelia. Like, it's very strong. The only real true upgrades that you can make are Sword of Feast and Famine, Aggravated Assault, and Waves of Aggression, but those 3 cards together will run you about $100. So I get if you're not looking to spend that kind of money, but like, in my experience, those 3 things just win games. But everything else in this deck is really good. So it's a question of like, what things do you want to be good against? And making certain card choices just to cover off certain things a little bit better. Right now, I mean, I would like to see a little bit more free equips in the deck. I love Fervent Champion. I've added Brunor because something was missing. Oh, the Battle Angels, I think. Brunor's really strong, right? Like, if we had a Brunor in at any point in that game, Prophetic Flamespeaker probably just would have killed at least one player. Which probably solves a lot of issues for us, to be completely honest. Our biggest problem in this game was opposing players, and in particular, them interacting with us. Originally, he had Defense Grid in here, but I went with the Conqueror's Flail, and I think that's just a better choice for the deck, right? I think it just makes more sense with what's going on. Also, it got reprinted, so it's not terribly expensive anymore, which is nice. Other things to think about, in last night's game, I had both of these in my opener, and they got wheeled out, and there's like not a great way to get them back. So if you're in the Hearth and Home business already, it might make sense for a Karmic Guide here. That's a thing that I could really get down with. Other than that, I would say Grenzo's probably the weakest creature in this deck. It's annoying in... Depending on what's on the board, Goad can be good, right? Like, there's just times where goading the worst thing in play is a real good idea. But I would say that it's probably highly variable. It's not going to give you the most consistent results. So that's one that I personally would probably take out. But I do think it's an interesting card and definitely worth trying. I unfortunately didn't get a great look at it in 2 games, but Cloudsteel Kieran's an interesting one. I haven't really had a chance to play this one much yet. I mean, God, this thing's been out almost a year at this point. I've been trying to play a lot less Voltron this year. I've played a lot of Voltron in the past, so just haven't had the chance to fool around with this one that much yet, but it does look very cool. The other thing, I wouldn't mind just a couple more cards up here. I think I mentioned Sun Titan. I mentioned Denitha. I think Denitha would be a huge pickup. Get your equipment back and do all the stuff. That seems like a really good one. Just to have a little bit more meat, because this deck doesn't block particularly well. And not that like you need to go like way out of your way for blocking, but at some point you just want something like a little beefier. I do think that new Denitha is a really, really good choice. So I might go in that direction. But anyway, it's a really solid deck. Like, it interacts well. It has its combo line set up. It does have a little bit of counterplay to opponents with stuff like Karn and Conqueror's Flail, which is nice. So yeah, there's a lot to like about this deck. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel, vote on which decks I play next, or if you want to get some good games of Spell Table, be sure to check out my Patreon at the link below.